So it's been a long ride. Janine and Paul coming to you from our new beach. Many have been waiting to hear. We've been gone a long time, longer than we thought. We've been in Panama, I think, a month, and this is the beach that we are just closing on, not closing, but finalizing the contract to purchase, promise to purchase, and we've come to terms with the owners literally the last day. Long story about how convoluted things happen in Panama, but Paul and I have had sites on this beach and the property up behind it, which we have other video of. We have had the most immense personal growth and just incredible cultural immersion experience. We planned for 2 weeks and there was just no way that was long enough. We thought we stayed longer to meet another couple who was coming, and the reality is they didn't even come because there was a hurricane, and the hurricane was going to be a test of our moxie and determination because so many things came up, like coping with different things about electricity outages and road flooding and ending up in the jungle and somebody leading us out through mud and a bike in the dark that we just had to entrust that these are good people and we shouldn't have ever even been there, and just so many things. And all we're like, we just want to finalize the contract. And Paul's like, but we can't even finalize the contract. We haven't even agreed on the price. And everything has happened sideways, backwards, upside down, and forward. And we are just now on the tail end of the ride. We're our last evening in Panama, and I am in the beautiful, beautiful azul blue Hamoca, also known as a hammock to Americans, and that's our Panamanian little flag. We have 2 of those, and that's the Pacific Ocean right out there. This little rancho that I'm under is here. I have some earlier footage of this, but this one I've stretched the Hamoca out a little bit longer, and I am just relaxing because we finally like got it on paper, like everything that's agreed to by verbal agreement, and Paul said this and the owner said that and Janine decided this, and everybody does business on WhatsApp here. It's craziness, but we finally have on paper what we think is almost the coming to terms on how we're going to do business. We're definitely doing business. It's ours. And the reality is right now Paul's down running on the beach and I am just catching my breath because I was the one to write up everything that got parking lotted in my head. If I had any doubts about could I really keep my memory intact and actually develop it in my beyond midlife years and early retirement years, and some concerns about my mom having had Alzheimer's. Man, you want to keep your brain alive, immerse yourself in a foreign culture and speak the language explicitly and be required to adapt to a culture where every single day the first thing you thought was your first thing to do that day could be the 13th thing for a week later, like honestly, especially when you and your love of your life are going through your own personal growth. So here we are, and I am just lying here relaxing in the hammock, and I'm taking in life because this is going to be our reality. We think it may be possible we close as soon as January 2021 and come back down, and I'm just sitting here in the hammock loving life. This is Pacific. This is our beach. This is my life. Here's a pineapple. And I'm just going to go for a little ride. Because, oh my God, what a long, strange trip it's been. We have grown more as individuals and as a couple, and have been through healing and personal growth and immeasurable learning and language acquisition beyond our wildest imaginations. And we have just blossomed in our spiritual evolution, and we have solidified our knowledge that we are in fact spiritual soulmates who came together through a series of miracle synchronicities, the likes of which we never knew. And on this trip, the fact that this beach that we found and this particular parcel of property we found confirms that the number of synchronicities that have happened since we've been here show there is no question. We feel it is almost certain we had a previous life here as a couple, in some other life as Latinos and Panamanians. And it's been so overwhelming, the number of synchronicities. It's been overload for Paul. I've been on this plane. He's like, you can't talk about synchronicity and God and living in Eden. I'm like, but that was the whole basis of our relationship. But it's just sometimes when you really get what you really, 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 really want, like the Wayne Dyer and Deepak Chopra series talk about, you better be prepared, because if your soul is really aligned for what you ask for and your energy is a match for the path, then it's going to show up, and it's going to show up in exponential frequency, and it is just crazy, crazy wild ride. And sometimes you just have to stop and say, pause. Like, please, God, don't let me manifest any more miracles today, because I just need a few minutes to ground and be human. So it's been wild. And I just finally said to Paul, like, I'm sorry you can't ask me to say that we don't have synchronicities, because that was like the whole way we came together. And today we've really come back to center as a couple. A lot of it was the stress of business being done in such extraordinarily different ways here. But the truth is, I am in the Hamoca that I bought by one of the many miracle synchronicities. And Paul is down running down the beach. One of his big points of really honestly in our relationship is accepting that I'm going to be happy and I don't have to nag him to eat or how much time he's going to spend or what I'll be doing. It's heaven here. We each have our own rhythm and flow, and we're going to be just fine. Our biggest trouble is we got to leave tomorrow, and we just finally finished doing business today after the last few days being honestly really very stressful, but with some incredible kind of breakthrough healings as a couple, and it's just extraordinary. But we're both just kind of grounding and centering, and we probably won't even leave with all the details ironed out. And one of the owners and Paul kind of really looking for us to get together before we leave today. And I said, absolutely not. Like, we need to process and we need to get ready to go home. We've been staying at a very rustic cabin at the far end of town, which ended up being even more rustic because the hurricane that hit the United States, we hope already, but possibly tomorrow. We don't even know if our flight goes home yet. That's how unallowed we are. But that threw havoc here because it wasn't a hurricane here, but it was a tropical rain. And all the way down at this end of town, I'll show you where, is San Vicente. And we were staying way, way, way down at that end. And down in the little port, try to zoom in on that. You might be able to see a pier. I can't really see my screen, but there's a fishing pier. It's in pretty bad shape, but there's plans to rebuild it. You know, a lot of things. It's one of the up-and-coming destination towns. It's Puerto Armuelles. And it's all the way from that punto down there in the port. I got to go back out because I can't see it. So there's the port. And then this is all those fishing boats down there, Pez de Oro. This beach here is Corazon de Oro. And it's all part of Corazón de Jesus. And down there is Corazón de Jesus and Playa Jesus. And that is one of the major surfing beaches. And our area, you can see right up here, is where I was in the Hamoca. And it's just in this cute little rancho. I'm struggling between English and Spanish because the last couple of days we're in a more upscale hotel, which actually caused us last night when we checked in to go into really culture shock because it's owned by a guy in Colorado. It's very nice, and it's a really nice Panamanian beachfront. It's here in Puerto, and it's called Big Daddy's. But it was so much more like America than where we'd been staying, and here on the land, we like interacted exclusively with Panamanian locals and speak exclusively Spanish, almost even with each other. We were known around here as Jota Nueve, which is the Spanish for J9, y Paulo for Paul, and our slogan is Jota Nueve y Paulo, Amor Infinite, and Puerto Armuelles. And there's a really beautiful family right up behind our yard. Our yard is beautiful lot 4, is the front center of the development, and that palm tree there marks the front of it. I'll go ahead and walk up. I know I have other videos of this, but this is our life. Paul's going to come home from runnings. There's some of our neighbors and Panamanian locals coming up. They are good, beautiful people. They have strong family values, simple lives, very, very pure hearts. Meanwhile, the ones who we love are these beautiful local families who are our families. They are our neighbors and friends. And up there our neighbors that are going to be our friends for life. So I'm going to go ahead and walk up. I need to grab my mask. One of the beautiful things about Panama is everybody practices COVID. So I'm just going to let the family pass because I don't have my mask out. I don't think they do. Panama has a 100% compliance policy. Vive Panama! We're moving here. Esperamos comprar el terreno hoy. We're moving here. En 2 semanas vivir aquí. Adiós. Mañana necesitará a los Estados Unidos. No desea vivir. Retornar en enero. I speak Spanish now mostly. It's really hard for me to speak English, and I've discovered why my students' grammar was so hard for them, because I really make a lot of grammatical errors when I speak English now because I've spoken so much Spanish here. But beautiful people, I just gave them pause. Everybody is allowed, in Panama, everybody wears masks all the time, and people think, oh my God, what a prison. But because of that, they have almost a 0 rate of transmission. In town, in grocery stores, everywhere, there is a mandatory mask policy, sanitization with alcohol on entry to every store, restaurant, or public location, and temperature checks. And no mask, no sanitization, no entrance without a temperature check that shows you have no fever. You have to wear a mask the whole time in restaurants. You can't sit without being socially distanced, and everybody thought, oh my God, it's so terrible. But this country has really dialed it in. Now, that group of family went by. On the beach, you don't have to wear a mask if you are in your social family unit or your bubble, and they don't mean bubble like who you think is your bubble, like your friend is in your bubble, but they were just at a bubble with a bunch of other people's bubbles. These people really, like, they have a bubble, and that's it. A couple is automatically a bubble, a family is a bubble. But if somebody else passes by, you either really distance, like I moved a good 15, 20 feet apart from them, or everybody would put masks on, and really everybody honors it. And they hold each other to it. So I just gave them passing time because I didn't want to stop the video to find my mask. But I'm going to do that now. I'm putting we got a couple of Panamanian flags. I can't get it. I'm just tucking them in our Hamoca here. Because this is it, man. Vive Panama. We are living the dream. We are taking these little flags back. And Betsy, the wife of the husband and wife that are selling the land, Betsy and Ren's Ark of living in Panama, gave us a big one. We're driving around a big honking Panamanian rental car. And originally we were like, well, when we come here, we'll get a smaller one. Look, here comes Paulo. Paulo y Hota Nueve. So this is our life. Like, this is what it's going to be like. I'm going to be hanging out on the beach. I'm going to be kayaking. There's a couple of amazing rivers. There's a river down there, Rio Blanco, and there's another one up there that comes down to Pez de Oro. That's the fisherman's landing. You'll see the fishermen are just putting their fish out for the day. I mean, they're going out to get the nets that they set in the morning and bring in the catch, and then they'll set tomorrow's nets. I guess they do it, I can't remember if they do it twice a day or once, but we see this almost daily. And like right now, if I want fish, I can go down there, and at the end of their catch, they'll be available right there for fresh fish for sale. And that's honestly the best place to get it. I can't see if I've got them on camera because I've got a bright sun in my eyes, but I'm pretty sure I'm catching them going out. So they literally use old style launching techniques, and they're using 2 logs and good old fashioned manpower to get that boat in the water. It's quite fascinating. Paul's back. I've got you way zoomed in. I'm sorry. Nice pecs, baby. Oh no, that's your face. Oh, nice pecs too. So Paul goes running. He's done a lot of beach running. He wears this little, what are those called?
Well, they're
Vibrams.
Vibram 5 fingers.
So where'd you go?
Toe shoes. Oh, someone running back there.
Oh, here comes the runner. So Paul's actually made a couple of local Panamanian friends who run, and here comes somebody up the beach. Yesterday there was a woman horseback riding up the beach, or maybe the day before, a month before, or 2 days later, or in another life, because honestly that's the way it's been going. But there's a woman who, we saw her ride the horse down the beach. She's probably down there now because I see fresh horse prints. And she rides her horse down the beach. People play beach volleyball down there. And then, I don't know if you can see, but they're definitely launching the boat. And out they go. There goes Paul to make a new running friend. He's going to go say hi. Anytime he finds runners, he goes to try to meet them or at least say hi. So there's a local exercise is very much valued here. It's so interesting because the expats that we meet, and especially the owners here, said, oh no, the locals don't go out, they don't exercise, they don't go to the beach. Well, they don't live here. They live in Seattle. They lived here for a while, but it seems like for about 10 years they've lived off-site, and this project kind of they held on to it for a while. So I think some were sold, not sure, but honestly, as far as we know, we'll be the first to build. But they actually think the Panamanians don't go to the beach, and they also think they don't go out in the rain, and they also think they are terrified of getting sick. That part seems to be a little bit true, but what it really is they just don't really work too hard. A lot of people think Panamanians are lazy, but what we're seeing is, you know, that's really hard work. They're launching that boat by hand. They go out, they put their nets in, they set the nets out there, so there's a buoy inside and another buoy out. And yes, they do fish in nets, but in very shallow water. And they're very, very cautious, like they're dolphin friendly. They inspect them every day. I don't think there's dolphins here as far as I know. But they're catching things like red snapper, and there's another fish I don't know the name of. But, you know, they putting those boats in, and I mean, you can't see it on the camera. I don't think I can zoom in enough. But it is, one person is hauling in today's nets. There's another one going out to get the catch, and then they're setting a net. So there's one guy on the end. They're motoring out and to get another one out there. And this guy's wandering back in. He just launched the boat. That's his job. I'm not even on it, but this is like a major league thing. And then everybody back up on the beach is either waiting to help them land, or there are people waiting to buy. So the woman that we saw, she had ridden her horse down, and it was really cool. She rode her horse out to meet the boat in the water there, about where, I don't know if you can see the person waiting in. But she rode out about that deep as the boat was coming in, and she bought the fish right off the boat from the horse. And then she came up. I have a still photo of her, I think. And then she rode that horse right back up here, and she went about to here. She waved, and then she galloped down off the beach on the house, on the horse, all the way down. That is Corazón de Jesus. And around the point down there is an area called Cuatro. We don't really go down there. It's a little dicey on that far end. Some people say crime, others people say not, but in general, on this side of what seems like a point, it's not really. And everything from here up to Pez de Oro is really, really heaven's earth. Everything on the right side is really Puerto Armuelles proper. There's the Barrio Carmen, Playa Esperanza, downtown Puerto. And then on the other side where we're staying is San Vicente. We didn't consider any of those areas because too close to town. And while San Vicente is beautiful, they're much too close to the water, and there's some water quality issues and some septic issues down there. So while we stayed in a cabin there, we realized, nice place to visit, don't want to live there. And we are in, honest to God, what is just God's best beach on earth that we think there could be as far as beachfront properties. I'll show the view again of the rancho. So here's what life would be like. Paul comes home from running, and I'm hanging out in the rancho. I'm gonna walk them up the beach. Do you want me to follow you, or do you want to go behind me?
I'll go behind.
Okay. He doesn't want me to photograph him. Say hi to everybody.
Hey everyone.
So
Had
this is
a nice
our life.
run. I love this beach for running. Saw some families down the way. I went all the way down past Corazón de Jesus, I believe. Probably a few miles, or 2.5 miles down, then back. It was really nice.
Pause.
It's always 81 degrees. So.
Not always. We're here in winter, so we're trying to prepare ourselves. This may or not be on camera, but I'm going to kiss you.